Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming a little bit differently so that I can show you my homeschool planner and my mom's notebook that I use throughout our school year. If this is something that interests you, I'd love it if you liked this video and subscribe down below. And let's get right into it. All right, first off, we're gonna start with my mom's notebook. I just created this on Canva, added in the text, and printed it out for myself. I am also going through and coloring the pages just when I feel like it. So this notebook I use for pretty much all of my resources and things that I need access to, but that doesn't necessarily have their own place to go. So for example, our science, we're doing with the good and the beautiful, and I will show you this in a minute, but I cut up all the stuff for the different lessons, and so I have put them in sheet protectors in here. But let's jump right in and take a look at this. This I just have is the first week of our school that I had planned out. I stuck it in here because my homeschool planner doesn't actually start until the month of August, but we will look at my planner in just a minute, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Okay, so the first thing in here are some cards for my son's math. He's doing Simply Charlotte Mason's bookstore math. And so these are some of the cards that he can draw while he is doing that. And I just stick them in here and I hole punch the envelopes. This way he only does, he only needs to pull these about once a month. And so this way they're just here, they don't get lost. They're like just small little cards, and so it just felt like a nice place to put them. Okay, next up we have got my calendar overview. I always print the same one out every year from papertraildesign.com. I love it. I love the watercolor. I think it's cute. So in green, I have highlighted the weeks that we are doing school, and then blue is our break weeks. We're trying something new this year, and we're doing 5 weeks of school and then a week off. Now, it's a little different at the beginning. We actually ended up starting the 13th. We did school that week, we took a break, and then we just did school last week through July, and we are taking another break week already. It just happened to work out that way for our schedule and for things that we have going on. So starting next week, on August 10th, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of school, and then we will take a week off in September. And it pretty much goes like that throughout the school year. And our plan is to end on the 28th of May. So that's my calendar. Then in here, I have got a breakdown of all of our subjects in unit. So this first sheet is our studies we're doing together, and I've listed off the weeks. And then up here we've got the subjects, so science, our history quest, our state study, and our read aloud. And then every week just broken down what we're doing. So birds, and I just reminded myself it's 14 lessons. So week 2, research quest, Native American nations. We studied Delaware, and then we're reading The Land of Roar. And so I have that. This goes through the entire year, just so I have an idea of where I want us to be. Now, we will probably fall behind. We usually do, but this just gives me a general layout of where we should be and what we should be trying for. Okay, I've also printed these out for each of my kids. So this is my son's individual work. He is in the 6th grade. So it just says what math chapter he is working on, what his reader is for his language arts, what his personal reader is. So those are different. One is a book. He just reads like a chapter a day and answers a few questions on it. And this one he's just reading, goes along more with his history. And then he also has his writing, his grammar, his vocabulary. All 3 of those are from Hearth and Story. And then his science, mom science. And I actually printed this out for him as well so that he knows exactly what he's supposed to be doing each week. And if you notice anything that has a check by it, it just means I've prepped it. So I just made sure we had the book. I tabbed books for him of his reader so he knows how much to read every day. things like that, that I know if it needed to be prepped and it's been done. Okay, then we've got my 3rd grade daughters set up the same way. I just run this one. So again, she's got her math, her Hearth and Story novel that she's working on, her reader, and then her writing lessons, her grammar, which we're using Hearth and Story for writing, we're using Beowulf Grammars for grammar, and then All About Spelling. Okay, and then I've got my son, who's just in 1st grade, so his is a lot smaller, but we've got his math, his All About Reading too, and then his Blossom and Language Arts. And again, he does all the things together, so this is just their independent work. Okay, so then I have put tabs in and labeled them for the variety of subjects. So first up, I have social studies. In this section, I have got a book list, the literature list for Hearth and Story. I also have some timeline printouts from Build Your Library. And then I have some blank maps that I just printed off of line. So basically in each category, I just keep things that I know we're gonna need and want, and I don't wanna have to go print them every single day. So we've got these, I've got those book lists and those timeline figures that we can just cut when we get to those points. Okay, the next tab is science. So like I was saying before, I went through our Good and the Beautiful unit, I cut out our vocabulary, and then every lesson, any materials that came with it, I just put into their own sheet protector. So we've got the vocabulary, this is some stuff we already did from lesson 1, and then yeah, just the various lessons, all the materials are cut out. So when we get to that lesson, I don't have any prep work, I just come, grab my binder out, and pull out whatever we need next. This next one is individual subjects. So it's things that I need for an individual child's curriculum, but not necessarily something that they could hang on to in their own personal work baskets. So for example, this is my schedule for Beowulf Grammar, and then some printouts that I have for my daughter. And I think that's all I have right now under individual subjects, just because that is the only thing that we've come across that I need extra printables that I didn't make a separate binder for. So for example, I do have a separate binder for Math with Confidence grade 3, so that we've got all of the game boards and the printables we need there. But I made it its own binder because it had a few more, it's a little bit more involved than just what this is, and we use it almost every day. Okay, next I have literature. Now, a few of these carry over from years before, so that's what this is. And in here, the first thing I have are these Mensa lists. If you don't know, Mensa for Kids Excellence is a reading program. If you go through, they have a K through 3, and then they have a 4 through 6 reading list, and you can go through and read them. And I believe they'll send you like a t-shirt and a certificate of completion. They're just really amazing books. And so you can see some of these dates are pretty old, 2023. And we've just been going through some of them slowly. I work on them more at different times of the year or different seasons of life. So we've got this one. So I've got multiples of this one since I've got more than one kid. So this is all K through 3. And then we haven't worked quite as much on this 4 through 6, but we do have a few of these on our list for this year. My 6th grader will be reading Ben and Me. We're reading The Borrowers together. He has read actually a few of these. We just haven't filled them all out. But yeah, so this is just something that lasts year to year, and I didn't want to lose it, so I have stuck it in this binder. Okay, and then after these Mensa lists, I found this free printable book review page. So I've printed out a few and stuck them in here. I don't make my kids do book reviews all the time, but this way I just have it when it hits me or when they finish a book that I would like them to fill out a book review. Okay, and then this last section is just more miscellaneous. For this school year, I've just stuck in Hearth and Story's 3rd grade poetry level, which we are working through as a family, and we just do 1 poem a week. And then I also I bought off of Teachers Pay Teachers like what do you call it? I bought a kit to do a lap book. And so this is just a bunch of the sheets from that I already have printed. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of my mom notebook. I absolutely love having this. I just like having all these things that could be loose in other places, but now I just have access to them right here, and it makes it really easy during our day to just grab what I need, find the materials, and move on with our lessons. All right, the next thing we're gonna look at really quick that is a big part of our homeschool is my homeschool planner. I bought this one from Raising A to Z, and I'll link her down below. I do really like this one. It's dated. I just wanted something easy this year. I printed it myself, bound it, and yeah, I just like how simple it is. So I won't show you everything. It's a planner, but I will show you what like our week looks like. So this will be our week 3 of school. So coming up in August, starting on the 10th, because we're on break week this week. And so I've just broken it down by each kid, and then history, science, and then meals, personal, which I haven't filled out yet too much. I do have a few other things going on. And so this is just what it looks like. So yeah, I also in here only write down the things that I absolutely want us to get done. This doesn't include things like their handwriting workbooks or explode the code or some of those things that I want them to do, and I've included in their personal daily planners. But I didn't write it down in my own planner because if we don't get to it, it's not detrimental. But so for my oldest, Benjamin, we've got Math Mammoth. He's doing his mixed review. He's going to do a chapter in The First State of Being, which is his novel study. He's going to do his writing lesson 2 and his vocabulary lesson 2. And both of those actually last all week, but I just wrote them once each. And then my 3rd grader has got her Math with Confidence lesson, The Lost Library, which is what she's doing for her Hearth and Story. Then we have got Brain Food, which I will do with her from Hearth and Story, and then her Beowulf grammar. My 1st grader will be doing 2 pages in his Math Mammoth. We'll be working on lesson 4 of All About Reading, and then we will read our Blossom and Root story for that day. And then for history as a family, we will do our first chapter in History Quest and the map work that goes along with that chapter. And so this is kind of just an overview. Feel free to pause it and kind of take a look at it. But this is basically how I plan. I've planned out through the first 12 weeks. Some days we miss things and we don't get to all of it. But then we just push it to the next day, and that is totally okay. So here is a week that we already did. This was last week of school. Anything highlighted in blue, we got to and finished. Anything that is not highlighted, we did not get to. So we ended up going camping on Friday and left at like 10 a.m. So my son finished his science lesson, but he didn't quite get to all of these things. We missed out on our field trip because of that, and we didn't finish our science lesson, but I will just make sure to fit those in the coming weeks. All right, that is everything I have to show you today for my planner and my mom's notebook that I love to use. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them down below. I'd love to answer anything that you're wondering or link anything for you. And don't forget to subscribe and share this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.